Hello and welcome. My name is Kenny Yu. In this video, I'll be showing you how to troubleshoot SQL Server services on Azure VM. So currently, I have a SQL Server that I just boot up. For whatever reasons, I cannot get SQL Server to start. One of the first thing I usually go is to check SQL Server Configuration Manager, and what I notice is the SQL Server in a stop state. What we can do is actually try to start it, see if it will start. I know this won't start, so I won't try that. The next thing I'll do is I'll go ahead and check my SQL error logs and to see why SQL Server didn't start in the first place, right? That's a good starting point. Usually there's a lot of information that we can gather. So the way we find SQL Server, usually for a SQL Server that's on Azure VM, they're sitting in the programs files, MS SQL Server, and then we look at SQL Server folder, and then MS SQL Server, and then we hit the logs folder. Right off the bat, there's several logs that are available. I'll just go ahead and based on modified, I'll select the latest one. I'll go ahead and open this one up, and let's see why it did not boot. All right. So everything looks good here. What I'm looking for is probably towards the end of the file. So it looks like some informational messages. Everything's starting up, the databases. All right. So right off the bat, I have an error message here. The error 5123 16 states 1. It said it reads create file encounter operating system error. Cannot find the path, the specified path. So what path was it looking for? Oh, it was looking for a temp data folder. What I can do is come in here. What's happening is that since my VM has been off for a period of time, uh, and the temporary storage or temp DB files are actually stored on the D drive, which gets removed and recreated every time. Not every time, but if the VM has been off for a certain amount of time, it will actually get removed and gets recreated. So what we need to do is come in here, create the folder. So let SQL Server know to be allowed to create those files, specifically the tempdb files for the MDF and the LDF. So I'm going to create two more folders. The data, and I believe the other one is logs. And let me just verify, make sure my error message is correct. Yep, data and log. All right, and then what I'll do is go back into the configuration manager and just go ahead and start that. All right, so SQL Server did start back up. There was a small correction in the log folder structure. It is actually just log, not logs, as previously stated. So yeah, it is started. As you can see, it's kind of a nuisance, or kind of a lot of work to kind of figure out just the folder structure is missing. What we can do here is come into SQL Server configuration. In the portal here under virtual machines, then we're going to go to SQL Server configuration and down to storage configuration. This is pretty neat here, and I learned about this myself not pretty recently. So what we can do is actually configure the storage here, and then every time we come in, they will actually go and create these folder structures for us. And then we don't have to go in, and we don't have to keep creating it. I'm gonna just go apply. So this, every time SQL Server starts back up, if the folder is not there, it'll check and it'll just recreate that. But say for instance, if something that it's say if there's an issue that's not related to this, right? You check the error logs. There was something that's unrelated. There's a different type of error, right? What we can do is actually go into new support requests here, and there's a ton of information. This is where I found my this fix here is where we can go in and say and type in the fill in um, the titles here, and under here is I just put in enable to start SQL Server, and under SQL Server the topic tree here I'm going to just select SQL Server administration management, and then what I'm going to do is just select the recommended, right, and next. And once I hit next, what it does is this goes into and does a search of all the relevant issues related to SQL Server cannot start. And one of the first thing I notice here is, oh look, SQL Server does not start because missing tempdb. There's actually a link here that will take you to show you what I just showed you earlier to create that folder structure every time SQL Server will start and check for that tempdb uh, directory and make sure that it's there. All right. For instance, if this is not something that related to your issue currently, what we can do is come in here. What is very neat here is a table, and it breaks it down to all the most common errors that has been seen due to the cases that has been received, and so any of these errors that it's in the error logs are related to that. Right? I mean, it's not gonna be exact one-on-one quotes, I'll say, but it's pretty close. But if it's any of those, we can go ahead and take this, try to see if the resolution here will resolve that. Um, and there's other you know FYI, what I'll say is to check permissions, which is pretty normal, and see if there's any passwords that's been expired, especially on the service accounts that SQL Server when SQL Server starts, and if you can't log in, then probably a service account or maybe a Kerberos configuration issue. Um, the next thing is, if you did a CU update and for some reason after a reboot SQL Server is not able to start, we can also add this trace flag trace flag 902. What this does is just bypass the upgrade and allows SQL Server to continue to start. And then when SQL Server starts, you can probably uninstall the patch. There probably could be an issue with the patch when it first initially installed, and then reinstall the patch and see if that actually solved the issue. If IS extension does not if IS extension fails, right, then you're not going to be able to log into any of these features. This is a neat way we can do is now I can see that the provisioning state is success. If say it's failed or for whatever reason, just keep in mind SQL Server needs to start for IS extension to work. If you confirm that SQL Server is starting and there's an issue, what we can do is come in here and check repair that. Currently it doesn't need repair, but we can also force repair IS extension, and what it does is just uninstall, reinstall the IS extension for us, and then will give us all the feature sets here that we can use. One particular, the one that we looked at earlier, is the SQL Server configuration. There is a lot of good information. You can certainly use this as a starting point to troubleshoot your SQL Server Azure VM. For any reason, if you cannot find the answer through any of these great drop down resources here, go ahead and hit next and go ahead and create that case, and our engineers will be able to help you. All right, well, this is a quick look on how to troubleshoot SQL Server on Azure VM. My name is Kenny Yu. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please hit a like, and I'll talk to you guys next time on troubleshooting SQL Server. Bye now.